What's going on, guys? Mega Gig back with another video. We're back on the PTR. Today we are taking a look at the Barbarian. Again, we are taking a look at the Might of the Earth set this time, or Salt of the Earth as I keep wanting to call it for some reason. And a couple of things have been changed for this build, obviously, to make it stronger. Not really any toughness changes. This build does have good toughness. Overall, it kind of depends on what you run. We'll go over all the different options that you have in a minute. But the main thing that's been buffed here is straight up damage. The original set bonus, the 6-piece set bonus, was 1200%, and I think that's the only thing that's changed with this set. Yeah, and now it's all the way up to 3000%. Increase the damage of Earthquake, Avalanche, Leap, Ground Stomp, Ancient Spear, and Seismic Slam. All of those skills damage are increased by 3000% now rather than 1200%. So that's a really big buff. And then Girdle of Giants was also buffed. It used to roll, and I actually might have gotten rid of my old one, but it was... I think it was like a maximum of 80 or 100% or whatever. Anyways, now it's a max between 200 and 250, and I'm almost right in the middle, 230%. So not a bad find there. And it is an ancient too, so that's kind of nice. So another straight up damage buff there. And then, of course, Bracers of Destruction also got a damage buff. Seismic Slam now can deal anywhere between 400 and 500%. I think the original was 300 and 400, so that got a maximum of 100% added to it. So I did find new items here. If you have a set of these and you're on the PTR, since 400 is the lowest now, they'll automatically be changed to 400%. But if you want to find higher, you'll have to farm them. And same with Girdle of Giants. If you want to find higher, you'll have to farm that as well. Didn't take me too long. It took a couple of runs, and the servers were having issues this morning. Yeah, you can see I've got one Vitality gem in there just because my Vitality is a little low. And when I was throwing this together, I didn't have maximum gems right here at the time. But it's all right. It's just one gem. The build itself is largely the same. Talking about these bracers, if you have enough toughness, which I think we do, you can run these bracers. If you're not tough enough but you feel like you're doing enough damage, swap out for Ancient Parthan Defenders, and that's going to give you some good toughness, a good toughness bonus there. Oh yeah, that's my good one. Okay, and then the cube is staying the same. We're using Band of Might, Loot Socks, and the Furnace. However, I have not got to test it yet because I don't have one. But the Fury of the Vanished Peak has gotten buffed as well, and you can see there now it reduces the cost, the Fury cost of Seismic Slam by half, and increases the damage by 500%. Now, it's important to point out, and again, I was trying to find one of these. I don't have one, and who knows if I'll ever be able to find one. You can swap this out for the Furnace. It's important to note that it's going to drastically increase your Seismic Slam damage, which is also being increased here, and then is also being increased here. And it is one of your main sources of damage, but you are going to lose the 50% damage to elites overall, and then you're also going to lose... you're not going to lose earthquake damage. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. You guys see where I'm going with this. You lose the overall bonus to damage to elites, but in turn, you boost your Seismic Slam damage. But earthquake damage is unchanged. So, there you go. So, if I get one of these, I will definitely try it out. And I'll let you guys know. But for now, I have not been able to get one of these. As for gems, you do still have a couple of options depending on your toughness. I'm running the kind of standard right now, Bane of the Stricken. Bane of the Trapped, and then Esoteric Alteration. If you find yourself just blowing through mobs, maybe you've just got toughness from somewhere else, or you're on lower rifts, you can definitely swap out Esoteric for a couple of different options. If you want movement speed, maybe it's a faster farming build, you can go with Wreath of Lightning. You can also go with Invigorating Gemstone if you've got enough toughness, but maybe for some reason you're lacking healing, or you're getting caught a lot by crowd control effects. You can swap out with that. That's fine. Either of those options are fine, but when you really start pushing higher, you're more than likely going to need the toughness, and Esoteric Alteration is going to come in handy. Some people have even run Pain Enhancer on this build. It's not bad for the AoE effect, but you don't really benefit much from increased attack speed, because with the change to the Rumble Rune in Seismic Slam, you're only casting it once. You're not casting it 4 or 5 times. So attack speed doesn't really benefit this build anymore. As for passives, most of these need to be pretty set. There's a little bit of playroom. There's a little bit of playroom with Animosity, though I recommend taking Animosity because it does increase your maximum fury, which is what we're going for here. Because of the Rumble Rune on Seismic Slam, expand all of your remaining fury to cause the ground to shudder after the initial strike, damaging enemies in the area for 15% weapon damage per point of fury spent over 2 seconds. So that's what is that? That's 15% times another 20. So you're getting 20 more fury out of that. Plus you're getting a little more fury generation too. Earthen Might is completely required. Otherwise you're not going to be generating the fury you need to keep this build going. Ruthless is always a great passive to have, just to really help blow up enemies when they get close to dying. Rampage is one you can kind of swap out if you want to. The increased strength by 1%, stacking up to 25 times. So 25% increased strength is a pretty big boost. It's a nice damage boost. It's also a nice toughness boost because strength does provide some toughness. However, if you want to go for straight up damage all the time, maybe you're having a hard time keeping stacks of this, you can go with Brawler. If you find yourself you've got enough toughness, maybe you're lacking sustain, you can go with Bloodthirst. If you want more overall toughness, you can go with Superstition, which, as a matter of fact, I have the Superstition passive on the amulet I am using, because I was having a little bit of toughness issues. Another option, if you're needing something a little more defensive, you can go with Relentless. This is a fantastic passive on this build. While below 35% life, all skills cost 50% less fury, and life per fury spent is doubled. All damage taken is reduced by 50%, so life per fury spent is doubled. That's the main thing, because that's going to be one of our main points of healing here. Life per fury spent 3,000, and of course the higher fury we get every time we dump this, we're going to be healing up a lot. And then if we drop below, if we're using that passive, and we drop below 35% health, our life per fury spent is doubled, so it goes up to 6,000. And then, of course, all damage reduced by 50% while below 35% health. Kind of gives you a chance to sustain through and heal back up. And that also stacks really good with Esoteric Alteration. While below 50% life, your resistances to cold, fire, lightning, and poison, and arcane are all increased by 75%. So again, more toughness options there. Play around. It's going to differ between the gear that you guys have, your own particular toughness. And then one other change that I have made that I'm not entirely sure if it's 100% better. This is kind of the main thing people do here, this skill set here. And they have Wrath of the Berserker. However, because I'm not running my amulet that has the Bolcathos passive, where is it? It's in here somewhere. Did I accidentally put it on? Well, I've just got 2 of those. Anyways, if you're not running the Bolcathos passive, the cooldown for this is going to be quite long, and that 50% damage gain is huge, but it's for a very short time, 20 seconds, and then you have 100 seconds left to go before you can cast this again. Even with the Bolcathos passive, and you're taking you're taking 30 seconds off of it. It's still quite a lot of downtime, and it really helps for blowing up elites, but you can increase your overall damage by swapping it out with Warcry. I've been going with Impunity for straight up resistance, and this allows you an entire another Earthquake and Avalanche. And it also goes in a great rotation, which I'll explain, and then I'll show you guys when we actually get in. So a lot of times, or the way it normally goes is you'll cast Leap 3 times, and then you'll dump your Fury, and then while you're actually in battle, you'll cast both of these and Earthquake and dump your Fury all over again. So you're getting 2 seismic slams off, dumping all your Fury, doing all that damage in a very quick setting, and then you again just start jumping around, and you'll dump your Fury. By the second time you jump around again, Threatening Shout will be back up. You'll dump your Fury again. You'll jump. There'll be one jump in between each rotation, and you'll see that. And then by the 4th time you jump, these will be back off cooldown. This will be back off cooldown. So you'll use your Leap. You'll be full. Dump your Fury again. Boom, boom, boom. Dump your Fury again. Start the process over. When it comes to Battle Rage, I have found that Bloodshed is a fantastic, fantastic rune on this build. I'm actually liking the change more and more. It is definitely, I think, an overall buff. I still haven't seen anyone crunch the numbers, and I haven't crunched the numbers, but it does seem like an overall buff. And with all the Earthquakes you have going, and you're going to be jumping around, they're going all over the screen, that's a lot of critical hits that are kind of storing up to do that 20% kind of explosion every second. So this works really, really well with this, and I would recommend going with this skill. I probably wouldn't go with anything else, to be honest. So I'll go ahead and I'll do like yesterday. The video might end up being a little extended. It might be with all these. It's YouTube. You guys can certainly fast forward if you want. I'm going to go ahead and show you how it does on a T13. And then I will jump in and do an 85 is what I last ran. And I will note that on the live server with this build, it's been a while since I've played it, but the highest I was able to go with the gear that I have now was 78 or 79, mainly because I was lacking damage and toughness, both. And now you'll see with the changes in, of course, the set, and then the item changes, and we're going to run Bracers of Destruction too. You will see that, you know, it's been buffed quite a lot. I'm doing 7 levels higher than I previously was. So this build might have been buffed stronger than the Whirlwind even. It's going to take some more testing to see which build is actually completely stronger. And of course I'll be doing other builds as the day goes on. I know some channels have gotten up like all the videos for everything. It's going to come out a little slower on my channel. Rest assured it will be coming if you're interested. So let's go ahead and run a quick T13. I'll show you guys how it does there, and then we'll run a Greater Rift 85. I'm doing the T13s. Again, you can fast forward, but mainly because a lot of people like to know how a build is going to work on a T13 for farming. And you won't really, and you can see everything just blows up. You won't be able to cast your Battle Rage until you get into battle because you're not generating Fury like you are with the Whirlwind build. But as you can see, and this little buff here, we'll go over it right after you use Seismic Slam. The Earthquake buff comes up. That is coming from your Girdle of Giants. That's how you know when your Earthquake damage is being boosted by the 200 and whatever % you have. And of course you can also see your toughness buff here. And I haven't done the rotation I was talking about right, just because everything's dying so fast. We'll get into that whenever we're in a Greater Rift, because that's when it really matters. And I didn't go over every piece of gear because the build hasn't really changed I guess I could go over the gear. This is kind of a weird spot to go over. And I'm not really worrying about... I am picking up anything that's like a mighty belt or something, just because, you know, if I find something that's better than what I have on for this build. And again, the damage you miss out on the straight up damage boost you miss out on getting rid of Wrath of Berserker. You do gain damage in having another Earthquake going, and Avalanche, and then you also gain straight up toughness from the Warcry buff, which is nice. It's important to note that you don't get extra fury from your leap if you don't hit any enemies. If you just jump and land like here where you're not hitting anything, you don't get extra fury from that Earthen Might passive skill. And you can see those explosions going off from the recent critical hits. Yeah, everything really dies too fast in a T13 before I can even think about doing the rotation I was talking about. This hasn't been the greatest rift to clear fast. Feel free to fast forward if you must. Oops, messed that up. And our toughness up to 648 million. That's pretty good. Pretty good. That's counting our esoteric and our strength stacks. You can see our strength stacks stacking up right there from our rampage. Now, because of how long it takes to do your jump or your leap 3 times, your Earthquake buff will more than likely drop for a split second here and there. It's not a big deal, because you're going to buff it right back up as soon as you cast Seismic Slam. This was always a favorite build of mine. This was my go-to build before Whirlwind got buffed a couple of patches ago. And it's possible this build could take the top spot again. I don't think it really will, but it is possible. Without the changes being final, it's hard to see what build is actually going to take the top build. You can say, you know, for this build is the top build, or that build is the top build for right now, but without the changes being final, it's really hard to tell. If you are wondering about what the entire build is, like I said, it hasn't changed. I do have a video I do have a build guide video on this build, though. It is a few months old, but like I said, nothing's really changed since then. So feel free to check that out for a bigger explanation on all the gear. There, I got the rotation right. There were 2 elite packs in there. Seismic Slam is a little bit of a directional skill. It will hit right in your immediate vicinity, and then it goes off in a direction such as that. I'm pretty sure this is still going to stay the top version over over the original version that used Ancient Spear. I do kind of miss the Ancient Spear version, but it would be nice if we could use it. If the builds were somewhat interchangeable, if one had kind of benefits over the other, but they were both useful. So there is the T13 Rift with this build, and we'll go ahead and we'll jump into, make sure you allocate Paragon points into Maximum Fury. I've only got a maximum of 180. If you can get Maximum Fury on your gear, there I have an extra maximum 10 overall. And my gear is not optimized. It's not all ancient. I don't think. Maybe it is now. No, my shoulders aren't ancient. Amulet's not ancient. Bracers aren't ancient. Everything else is ancient. I do have a lot of ancients, more than I thought. Why did I run all the way over here? I do not know. Let's see if we got anything good. No, I didn't expect to. And I haven't used that potion in a while. Increase life per kill. Yeah, that's not really very useful. Alright, so we are going to get into a Greater Rift with this set of skills here, and this this set of gear here. Again, if you're having trouble surviving, and I think I did a Greater Rift with this set earlier. These are interchangeable. Obviously, more damage, more toughness. Kind of the point behind all of the things that you can swap out. You can swap out a lot of things on this to make this build extremely tough, but you're gonna suffer some damage. You can swap out all the toughness items for some major damage, but then obviously you're gonna struggle from lack of toughness. So you could see my toughness when I brought it up. It does go to 600 something million if you're running the Relentless passive and you drop into that and that activates. It goes up to like 800 something, I think. You can also run Nerves of Steel. I didn't mention that earlier, but you can run Nerves of Steel. You know, a cheat life passive, really nice. So, alright, let's get into a Greater Rift 85. Again, my highest Greater Rift on the live server, I'm almost positive, was just a 78. I ran one this morning, and it was a 78, and the server's messed up. I was going to clear it, but it was going to be close. So, and now we're going to do an 85, hopefully successfully. We'll see. We shall see. So normally when I jump in, I don't worry about that rotation right off the bat. I go ahead and get everything on cooldown because that will help me start that rotation that I was talking about. So there we go. Dump, hit that, and Earthquake was not back up yet. We can go ahead and hit it though and get it close. And you can clear some... Alright. So there's that, dump that. And you can see we are just mowing these guys down. If you mess up your rotation and hit a skill when you shouldn't, it might bring your leap down for just a second like you saw there. So everything is about set up, so we're going to get the rotation going right now. I'm going to jump, dump, jump, dump, dump, jump, dump, jump. As soon as Threatening Shout's ready, go ahead and dump it. And then the second time it's up, as you can see, now all the other skills are up again. That, and dump. So that is how the rotation works. Now if we can just figure out where we need to go. If you plan on refreshing Battle Rage, do it before you cast Threatening Shout, not after like I just did. Got my fingers on the wrong keys, and there I just messed up the whole rotation. But yeah, that is basically the rotation. The reason you want to cast Battle Rage before, fingers are on the wrong keys again, before is because if you cast Battle Rage, it does cost Fury. And if you cast Battle Rage before you dump your Fury, you won't have enough Fury to reset your leap. And there we go. And it's kind of hard to do the rotation and talk about it at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of play out some of the rest of this without talking. And so you guys can kind of see how it works without me kind of being distracted or whatever. And if you mess up your rotation, you click something wrong, it's not the end of the world. All it means is you're going to have one more earthquake down at that moment, but it might not be completely beneficial in your rotation. That's all it means. And you are not immune to CC in this. I'm trying to get Earthquake back on the right rotation because I did screw it up trying to talk about it. And yeah, I've gone and screwed up the entire rotation. Well, I got it in the beginning. That's what really matters. Alright, we'll just leave Earthquake down and we'll get it right this time. There we go. And a power shrine on this is just going to mow everything down. Did we not click that power shrine? Oh my gosh, we didn't. I was wondering why those guys didn't die. There they go. You guys were probably yelling at your screens. What an idiot, he didn't click it. Uh-oh. And so far, no elite packs on this floor. That's kind of... We've gone quite a long ways. There we go. And you aren't immune to CC, just remember that. So what you can do is jump out of the way. You won't, it is important to note that you won't be frozen in your leap if you're in midair. But it's kind of hard to time that way. Keep that in mind. And Warcry is on a longer cooldown than Threatening Shout, so unless you're gonna commit to fighting a little group, I don't cast it just because it's a longer cooldown in case you run into a Elite Pack right after that. Yeah, see, just like that. Well, that's a good demonstration of what I was talking about. Still stay in your Oculus ring whenever you can. This hasn't been a very good floor. As soon as I say that. Whoa, that hurt. And I've gotten my Earthquake messed up again. But that's okay. You guys should get the point by now. I have gotten the rotation right a couple of times. It's surprisingly hard to do this all effectively how you're supposed to and give commentary on it at the same time. Some people might be able to do it perfectly, not I. But we're going to bring out the Rift Guardian now. Go ahead and throw our Paragon point in there. Because... Did he just tell it? No, he didn't teleport to us. Oh, come on. What a ripoff. Hey there, guy. What's up? Also important to note with the Earthen Might passive, the actual Earthquake skill will generate Fury, but you cannot cast it without Fury. It doesn't generate that much Fury, it's only like 5 or 10, I don't remember the exact number, but it does generate a little bit of Fury. Uh-oh. That guy really hurts. We're just gonna get behind him. Again, when talking about the difference between having Warcry and in Berserker Rage. Also, a lot of times when you're fighting an elite pack, Berserker Rage isn't going to be enough to kill the entire pack, even though it does help you do a lot of damage. This is not a good position for this guy. And especially on the Rift Guardian. And so it helps you pop out a lot of damage in a short amount of time, but then when it goes on cooldown, you're left with a not left, I guess you could say. There we go, 2.5 minutes. Not too bad, considering it's 7 levels higher than what I was doing on the live server. And if you ask anybody that plays this build a lot, I've had a lot of people tell me that they use Warcry instead of Berserker Rage. So, guys, that is a quick first look, at least for me, on the Berserker. Or I mean, on the. Jeez, I'm so flustered right now. On the Might of the Earth Leapquake set. Yeah, the buffs are pretty amazing. I like them so far. Hopefully, there's what I want to say. I don't know if this build really needs buffs. It's just I don't know. I like the changes, but maybe a little more could be done. This build actually has been changed kind of all around, which is really nice. It's got this item here, the other one I showed you in the cube, and the set itself. Whereas something like Whirlwind only has Skull Grasp and the Whirlwind set buffed. That I'm thinking of right off the top of my head, unless there's something that I forgot about. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed this first look at this build. There will be other builds coming down the pipeline, guys, so stay tuned for that. If you like the video, leave a like and a comment. If you play this build all the time, let me know what you think. Tips, tricks, criticisms, whatever. And if you're not subscribed and you want to see more, guys, hit that subscribe button. Thanks, guys, for watching, and more good stuff to come. Take care.